in the heart of the Alps, a chilling discovery was made. September 19, 1991. Two German hikers, stumbling off the beaten path, found something protruding from the ice. At first, they thought it was a doll, maybe a lost mountaineer. They had no idea they had just uncovered one of the greatest archaeological finds of the century, and in doing so, awakened a story far stranger than fiction. This is the story of C.I., the Iceman, a perfectly preserved mummy from over 5,300 years ago. But it's also the story of a dark and mysterious chain of events that followed his discovery. A series of sudden, tragic, and unexplained deaths. Is it all just a string of unfortunate coincidences? Or did disturbing this ancient soul unleash a 5,000-year-old curse? When Sai was lifted from his icy tomb, he was a scientific miracle. His skin, his organs, even the contents of his last meal were intact, offering an unprecedented window into the Copper Age. Scientists were ecstatic. We learned about his tattoos, his diet, his health problems, and the incredible array of tools he carried. He was a time capsule, a human being frozen at the very moment of his death. But the story took a darker turn. We also learned how he died. An arrowhead was lodged in his left shoulder, severing a major artery. He was murdered, bleeding to death, alone on that frozen mountain pass. It was a cold case, 5,300 years old. As the world celebrated this incredible find, a shadow began to fall over those most closely involved. The first was Rainer Henn, the forensic pathologist who personally handled Cece's body. He was one of the first to examine the mummy up close, placing the frozen corpse into a body bag with his bare hands. Just a year after the discovery, Dr. Henn was driving to a conference to present his latest findings on the Iceman. He was killed in a horrific head-on car collision. At the time, it was seen as nothing more than a tragic accident. Then came Kurt Fritz, the mountaineer who led Dr. Henn to the Iceman's body. He was an experienced alpinist, familiar with the treacherous terrain of the Alps, but during one of his tours, in an area he knew intimately, he was caught in a sudden, violent avalanche. He was the only member of his group to be hit. His body was never recovered. The list began to grow, and the media started to notice. They called it the Curse of C.I. Next was Rainer Heilzel, a journalist who filmed a documentary about Cece's excavation. He was granted exclusive access, capturing the moment the Iceman was pulled from his glacial grave. A few months after his documentary aired, he developed a mysterious brain tumor and died a short, painful death. By now, the whispers of a curse were getting louder. Was it all just morbid sensationalism, or was something truly sinister at play? The most high-profile case, and the one that cemented the legend of the curse in the public imagination, was that of Helmut Simon. He was one of the two German hikers who originally found Sire for years. He was locked in a legal battle for a finder's fee, a reward for his world-changing discovery. In October 2004, 13 years to the day after he and his wife reported the find, Helmut Simon went hiking alone in the same mountain range where he found Sire. A sudden blizzard rolled in. He vanished. An extensive search was launched, but it was hopeless. His body was found 8 days later at the bottom of a 300-foot ravine. His body encased in ice and snow, eerily similar to the man he had discovered 13 years earlier. The story doesn't end there. Just an hour after Helmut Simon's funeral, Dieter Warnick, the head of the mountain rescue team that had found his body, died of a sudden heart attack. He was only 45 years old. The chain of death was becoming too long, too strange to ignore. Pathologist, guide, filmmaker, discoverer, rescuer, all dead, The next victim was Conrad Spindler, the lead archaeologist and the man who became the world's foremost expert on ZIH. For years, Spindler dismissed the idea of a curse. He would often joke about it, saying, "I think it's a load of rubbish. What's next, am I?" He dedicated his life to studying the Iceman, writing the definitive book on the discovery. In 2005, he passed away from complications related to multiple sclerosis. His death, while from a known illness, added another name to the growing list of those connected to Ötzi, who met an untimely end. Skeptics pointed out that these were explainable deaths, but the sheer number of them, all centered around this one ancient mummy, was unnerving. So, is the curse real? Logically, we can explain each death. Car crashes happen. Avalanches are a known risk in the mountains. People develop illnesses. Heart attacks occur. But when you put them all together, the pattern is chilling. 7 people, all intimately involved in the discovery and study of a man who was himself the victim of a violent death. All die within a few years of one another. Is it possible that disturbing the final resting place of this ancient man unleashed some kind of negative energy, a lingering echo of his own violent end? Perhaps the curse is not supernatural, but a reflection of the inherent dangers of the work itself. Mountain climbing is risky. Forensic science can be stressful. The pressure of a world-famous discovery is immense. Or maybe the story of the curse tells us more about ourselves than it does about C. Humans are pattern-seeking creatures. We look for meaning in chaos, for stories in random events. The tale of a vengeful mummy is far more compelling than a series of unfortunate, but ultimately unconnected, tragedies. The curse is a narrative, one that transforms a scientific curiosity into a modern myth, a campfire story for the 21st century. It taps into our primal fear of disturbing the dead, a taboo as old as humanity itself. Today, see the Iceman rests in a custom-built, climate-controlled chamber at the South Tyrol Museum of Archaeology in Bolzano, Italy. He is kept at a constant -6 degrees Celsius and 99% humidity, mimicking the glacier that was his home for 5 millennia. Millions of visitors have come to peer through a small window into his frozen chamber, to look upon the face of our distant past. The scientists who now study him take every precaution. But the legend lives on. The story of CI is no longer just about science and history. It's a tale of murder, mystery, and a dark shadow that has stretched across 5,300 years. Whether you believe in curses or coincidences, the story of those who died after finding the Iceman serves as a powerful, unsettling reminder that when we dig into the past, sometimes the past digs back. Thanks for watching.